Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Battered Bastards of Battlefield. We thought we'd do a video on this December update, which they're calling the Giants Shadow Update. Introduces a new map as well as a bunch of bug fixes, some balance things that we'll talk about, and one small addition to the rental server program, which desperately needs overhauling big time. We spent a few hours playing Giant Shadow right before we recorded this. I think it's just Harvest Day from Bad Company 2 but backwards, and to me it seems a little bit like they just recycled the single player level and made a multiplayer map out of it. Maybe that was intentional, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that was. It seems to be a mix of the rail yard from the last mission of Mud and Blood and the stealth mission in the town where you need to get the spark plugs or whatever they are.
Yeah, Giant Shadow, although we do think it's a good map, I had a lot of fun playing the map, but Giant Shadow is another example of a Battlefield map, which I think Battlefield maps have been plagued with a problem for many years, and that's the Battlefield maps like to have a I don't know what you would call it, like a focal point for
A
everyone.
veil funnel.
Yeah, like a focal point for everyone, for something big and grand and beautiful that everyone focuses on. And a lot of Battlefield maps have this problem. In this game alone, Foul Fortress is obviously the biggest one, and then you have this one, which has the blimp in the center. Well, I wouldn't mind the occasional map being that way, where it's more of a King of the Hill style thing. I desperately want to start seeing some maps where there is none of these focal points or choke points or anything like that, and it's just open and we can do what we want to do.
Well, what they could have done, what they can do to make it less like that is rather than having two fucking flags in that blimp, just one flag, and that entire blimp is one big air capture zone.
Yeah, but I do think the problem goes beyond that, though, if you ask me, because it's not just the fact that there's two flags in there. Yeah, certainly that's important, but
the map kind of funnels into it too.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. The terrain and the out of bounds funnel into it, and then of course, I mean, it's the first thing you see when you spawn on the map, right? This giant destroyed blimp crashed in the middle of the map, and it's just instantly draws your eye. It's a very artistic thing to do. And then, of course, what ends up happening is both teams come into a slugfest in the center over this thing, and only the team that's smart enough to go around is the team that wins.
Well, when I was looking at the minimap when I was dead, I was surprised at how much of the western side of the area that they don't use. It's all out of bounds, but there's an entire western section that it's not rivers or anything. It's a bunch of grass and field. Like they could have opened that up for people to use to flank around that.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I'm partially saying is that the out of bounds Battlefield games are becoming very predictable with the way they do them, and it's like, why create that sort of massive environment with all those artistic touches if you're not going to use it? Like, expand the out of bounds so it's not stop this linear out of bounds shit and start doing rectangular or square or circular out of bounds that allow us to have more freedom on how we move on the objectives.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm really happy they added, though, spectator mode, finally.
Yep, one step closer to making our cinematic movies. Now what we need to do is have actual power on the servers.
Yeah, I mean, this does sound pretty close to a cinematic tool. It's got depth of field adjustments and all that stuff, free cam, etc. So hopefully they expand on that a little more, create the ability to have like zoom lenses and cameras that follow specific targets maybe and things like that. That'd be cool. And of course, the RSP program, which is another important part. We need to be able to password servers so that we can have actors and people on there directing cinematics and things.
And speaking of server stuff, I am actually very happy. I was surprised that they added the custom server option standard issue rifles, which it grants all kits the ability to use the standard issue rifle for whatever faction they're playing as. It grants for the Germans, all kits can use the Gewehr 98. For the Austrians, all kits can use the M95. For the Americans, they all use the M1903, the 1903, but I'm not sure if it's the experimental or if they added in an actual bolt action.
I think it's an infantry variant.
I hope.
I can't say for certain because I can't change the map to Ballroom Blitz to fucking check. But um, so yeah, I mean, I'm happy that this is a thing now. But at the same time, and I hate to be like the negative one here, I hate to be the critical one, but this is just it's just not enough, Dice. I know that you're trying to appeal, and I know that on Twitter, the guy running this program has said that there's going to be more information coming soon, and I hope that it's all good news. But if this is the idea of responding to the community's request to be able to modify the weapon loadouts, it is a very sad attempt at that. We need the ability to not just ban entire classes of weapons or enable one rifle for all the kits that, we don't have anything. We need the ability to individually select each kit and decide which weapons we want that kit to use, whether or not the kit was originally designed to use that weapon or not. If I want a submachine gun in a scout class, I should be able to do that, as ridiculous as that sounds. If I don't want a specific light machine gun or submachine gun or rifle, I should be able to ban that rifle. It's just, this idea is great, but it needs to be taken to a whole other level before it's really going to be something worth celebrating for me.
Honestly, I get I don't understand. They say they're trying to appeal to everybody, but lowering our options doesn't mean appealing to everybody. All the people that want a regular experience are still going to be able to find a vast majority of the servers running that. It's just, for variety's sake, give the server owners more power to change stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's no reason whatsoever, aside from somebody somewhere up high in a business position making a comment, to not give people full control over the investment they put into your product. Like, this isn't just me buying the $120 Battlefield with the premium edition. This is me buying that and then another $130 on top of that to rent a server. So it's like, for me especially, who put down the cash for this server at the moment, it's like, come on, I invested my money into your product, basically, supporting it wholeheartedly because I'm giving you play space that you otherwise wouldn't have, but I do not have even the ability to, ban somebody who's hacking. It's ridiculous.
Also, what they need to do for the server list is make it so you can just check a box that says custom servers, and it will only show all the servers that are running custom settings, whatever settings those may be, rather than people having to make specific filters to search for specific settings for servers. You should just be able to look up custom servers in general.
Well, this is another problem they have. So, a lot of the custom servers that are running hardcore, damage and stuff like that, are not included in the hardcore quick match. So you can't just get people to join it who are clicking the matchmaking, which is dumb. But it's like, if you're not going to allow us to use matchmaking to help populate our servers, then you need to create a server filter, like you said, that's going to show rental server program servers only, so that people can look at them and decide for themselves if they want to play on one of them.
Yeah, because it's extremely difficult to find a server that's not a DICE official server, and it just fills up the page with a bunch of DICE official ones and maybe one community run one, and then it doesn't even let you go through multiple pages. You just get that page, but there's more behind that.
No, there definitely is. Some of the other changes, they increased the damage from aircraft machine guns, which I thought a good change. I mean, personally, I thought the only MGs that were which needed some adjustment were the tail guns. But whatever. I am kind of excited to see how fighter machine guns do against infantry and stuff now. So I haven't really given that a shot yet, but yeah, it's not easy at all. Where it wasn't anyway, to be a fighter, get behind a bomber, even in the bomber killer package, and take down a bomber without first being killed by the tail gun, which was the problem.
Yeah. Alright, I didn't do a whole lot of fightering, so you're better one to understand that.
One thing that they did add was the line of, it's like a head glitching fix for the armored train and stuff. So everybody knows that the armored train, you could spin the machine gun around and you could shoot through the train to kill a guy at the front, even if you couldn't see him, which is dumb. So now I just tried the train out on Giant Shadow, and they did change it to where like the machine guns and stuff can't shoot through the train anymore, which is a good change. I don't know if in hardcore it damages the train or not, but well, I guess we'll have to find out.
All right. Well, let's see. Speaking of hardcore, so it doesn't seem like this change has gone live yet, but they actually made a few changes. So they gave everybody a map, a big map that they can bring up where they can look at the map of the place that they were playing at. It doesn't show friendly, enemy, or objective positions, but it is something that you can look at. And you know what? I agree with that, because at least helps you get direction, and the logic behind that is they're trying to give, in hardcore, they're trying to give people what the real-life soldiers would be working with. And, that it makes sense. What I don't like, though, is apparently they and like I said, it hasn't gone live yet, but they're decreasing the hardcore damage from 200% bullet damage to 125% bullet damage, which is going to make bolt action rifles from being one hit kill at all range, which I actually completely disagree with. Not because I like to snipe, I fucking hate snipers, but for anybody that actually wants to use the rifles, the standard issue rifles or the iron-sighted rifles, it's just gonna be a big hit to them. It's not gonna do anything for the freaking people who snipe.
I kind of agree with the damage reduction. I don't know if 125% is the right amount. But you can see this in hardcore with 200% damage. The problem is not that bolt action rifles aren't deadly. The problem is that you have maps where there is a lot of open terrain, like Sinai Desert, and in hardcore the problem is that no matter where you got hit, foot, hand, chest, leg, head, penis, whatever, you would die instantly. It wouldn't matter. So I guess the idea here then is to like find the perfect amount of extra damage for hardcore, whereby being a sniper and hitting a target in the hand from 400 meters away is not going to be a kill shot, but being a sniper and shooting around at somebody at close range is going to be, so that you don't sacrifice. So like in hardcore, there's never a moment I want to be in close quarters combat with a bolt rifle, pull the trigger, and then have to pull my pistol out to continue shooting, because that's not, that's a vanilla thing that works fine in vanilla against the vanilla damages, but in hardcore, if it, even with a little bit of extra damage, the need to switch from the bolt rifle to the pistol to get the kill is going to kill scouts quicker than it is going to help them.
Yeah, and honestly, I use exclusively iron-sighted rifles, and I like using them aggressively, and I feel that it should still be a one-shot kill at close, medium, and at somewhat long ranges, but at extreme ranges it should taper off, I feel.
Yeah, well, I was making this point earlier that I don't like the scout class as a whole in the last few Battlefield games. I thought it was going to get a little bit better in 3. It's kind of what they were talking about when it came out, but it never did. And the scout class in Battlefield has been dulled down to this long range, like basically non-helpful team member that 90% of the people who play that kit are going to be. It's like the scout class needs to be, if you wanted a close range, like forward, quick moving class to go forward and scout enemy positions, that'd be fine. Like, give the scouts a mix of weapons that are close and medium range, and make it necessary for him to get up close and like put down things like listening posts and throwing smoke grenades and stuff like that to help his team push forward. Don't make him this long range fucking sniper.
Well, I think one thing that they should do to fucking lower that is get rid of their friggin' scopes. Bolt action rifles, even without scopes, you can still shoot at people from a good distance away.
Well, this is what I said on my post on the forums earlier. I was like, I'm perfectly fine with the idea of scopes, but if we're gonna have scopes, the scope for a scout should be a gadget, not an actual weapon class. So like if the scout wants to use the scope on a rifle, well, then he's going to have to sacrifice his flare gun or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the scope should replace another piece of scout gear as your scout gear.
Well, I'm just worried that that might make them even more useless because most people will just be like, okay, I don't use that shit already, and they'll just fucking take out the one useful thing they do have their kit and replace it with a scope. I feel that the only way to get rid of the sniper problem is get rid of scopes and force them to use iron sights and maybe give them one gun that can fucking, I don't know. And maybe they should change the infantry variants of the guns to do more damage up close instead of using the same sweet spot mechanics that the marksman and sniper variants have.
I don't think they're identical. They're pretty close, but not identical.
From when I looked at them, it was the same thing. Still had that big bump. They need to all fucking. They need to all do max damage in close range, and maybe different ones can taper off at different ranges. But the infantry variants need that, so scouts can use those infantry guns and be more viable in close range, or be more competent in close range. Get them out of the hills and onto the flag, or at least close to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like I said, my opinion is they should be close quarters, and then, of course, you have the whole crowd that wants them to continue to be as they are.
Well, I don't know about giving them shotguns and SMGs, but give them more gadgets that make them want to get up close and get rid of their scopes and make their rifles more viable in close range. They're still obviously going to be beat out by SMGs and shotguns just because the way they are, but at least give them a freaking fighting chance.
Well, let's move on to the rest of the patch anyway before we get stuck on it. They did some changes to mortars. I guess they brought them back somewhere in the mid-ground of what they were before and what they were in the last patch. So, I haven't really tried one out, but
I still barely see anybody using mortars.
I mean, like we said before, it should be a large area of effect for little damage. It should be a support weapon, not a kill weapon.
Yeah.
They had a short cooldown between syringes, so you can't just go nuts reviving people over and over and over and over again. But if you're teamed up with a support class, and he's got an ammo box in the ground, then you can do that.
Yeah, which I like. They're kind of making the support and medic work in tandem.
Yeah.
It's a cool little thing that they're doing there.
And then, I guess, I don't know if I read this correctly before, but I guess, like, if you have a large ammo and a large medical crate next to each other, they get a ammo and health refill bonus. I guess that's what that means.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't see that.
Apparently they changed some of the explosive icons. I did notice a new crosshair for the canister shot. That changed. It was a circle before. Now it's more like a parallelogram, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It's been a long time since geometry. It's a curve, all right? It's not a box.
Oh, this is a small one. Flare projectiles now breaks glass. Yes.
So
no more me having to shoot out the window then shoot the flare in.
That's so Erwin Rommel is not even funny.
It's a good way to clear out a house.
Well, I mean, it's a smart way to do it. You know why? That's the only thing. Why don't flares burn down houses? I don't even want to get off on this tangent, but fuck it. Flares don't burn down houses, Dice. What the fuck?
They should at least cause that room that it's launched into be on fire for a little bit. You know what? Immolation grenades should do that too. You know what? Fuck it. Take out immolation grenades and give all of that stuff to the flare gun. That will make scouts want to use it more. I'm actually absolutely serious. That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, they should add more different types of everything. Smokes, flares, everything. I don't know why there's so few options as far as grenades and stuff are concerned. There's a lot of different types of grenades, you know.
Let's see, what else do we have here?
Most of the rest of the stuff is performance and minor gameplay tweaks. I forgot what the interesting one I read earlier was. It had something to do with vehicles. Oh, they were trying to fix more of that. Like when you're flying in a plane and you're chasing a guy and then it like lags out and he's suddenly like way off to your right. They tried to fix some more of that, so I'm happy for that.
Oh yeah, man! In the last gameplay video I put out, Audio and I were experiencing that when we were trying to dogfight some guys, or this one guy. He kept on warping around and shit.
They did add some like I don't know what you call them, tooltip videos. Like when I first started at Battlefield 1 today, I went to play Conquest, it showed me like a tutorial video. I was like, what? I don't know if that was in before, or if that was like something they just added, but it was like, it confused me.
Another thing, they did some balancing with the shotguns. They made the Model 10A.
Yeah, the Model 10A was too powerful. I don't want it. We're gonna nerf the range, man. Shotguns, man.
Honestly, the Model 10 was killing people at ranges that a real life shotgun actually does. I don't think they needed to change that. What they needed to do...
What do you mean I sprinted through machine gun fire and explosions and only had 25 health and the shotgun killed me from 100 yards? That's dumb!
What they should have done was, rather than touch the Model 10, they should have just did some buffing to the trench gun, which they did anyway. Because, admittedly, there was, like, a lot of people were running around with the Model 10. But
clearly, if the gun had a 200 millisecond disadvantage, I would have won that battle.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up, Archie. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, that's what I imagine people that complain about shotguns are like, because shotguns were not a problem, but I don't know, whatever.
You mean like certain YouTubers that will not be named?
Like, hey guys, let's nerf the Model 10A Hunter and Factory because they're the only gun that I use, so it must be OP because I suddenly got really good at it by practicing.
Yeah. Or hey guys, let's nerf these guns because I get killed by them all the time.
You want to know what else you can do in a video game when you practice a lot? You can actually start upping your frickin' mouse sensitivity. I can throw my mouse sensitivity up right now to 10,000 DPI and 120% in the fucking game. And over the course of 2 weeks, guess what? I'll learn how to kill motherfuckers with that fucking ridiculously high sensitive mouse. So it's not crazy to believe that if you use the shotgun, if you like the 10A, if you just like the way it feels, if you're just using it in all your kits because you keep hearing people say, oh, it's the best gun ever, that hey, you're gonna get fucking good with it after a while. So maybe it's not OP. Maybe you just fucking learned how to fucking play a game for once.
All I know is that they should have made the trench gun a little bit more accurate at range from the beginning. Apparently they added a pellet to it to make it more attractive or something. Good. And they slightly improved the damage drop off.
Now that we have got them to lower the damage of the shotguns, now we will go for everything else that we do not like.
So, are you supposed to be French or Chinese?
I am the evil half-French, half-Chinese supervillain come to take your shotguns.
I don't know what to make of this, so I'm just gonna skip it. Anything else, Archie?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool.
Anyways.
Le fromage et le shotgun.
Why did you only do that now? Why did you do that the whole time?
I was waiting for my moment.
Anyways, we'll talk to you guys next time on the Battlefield. Thanks for watching.